This is the Jordan Davis episode for future Sarah editing this because she's going to wear the same clothes. Welcome back to another episode of Talking Fast. My name is Sarah. Alongside me is manager Jacob. And what are we drinking this week? I mean, by we, I mean you.
Sarah, I've been on an interesting tip. I know people love this, and shout out to the brand. It's not sponsored. I've been drinking McDonald's Sprite. There's nothing that tastes just as good as McDonald's Sprite. Nothing that tastes better, for sure. Going through the drive-through, getting something, but you get the Sprite with it. I learned recently that they add a little bit more syrup than other people do to their like concentrate machine.
And that's why it tastes different. It tastes better.
It tastes so good. Yeah, I guess people hooked on it. It's delicious. It's a crisp drink.
So are you driving to McDonald's, going through the drive-thru specifically for Sprite, or is this like you go to McDonald's
it's like
a lot?
if I'm on the way somewhere else and I need a little quick bite of something that is going to taste good. It's not in every time, but when I'm there around, I'm getting the Sprite.
It's like how McDonald's Diet Coke, Fountain Diet Coke is superior. I don't know what's different about that one. Maybe there's more syrup again, but it's the superior.
Shout out McDonald's. You're doing good things with your syrup. But Sarah, what are you drinking?
Right now, I'm drinking, what is this? Again, not sponsored. I'm drinking a Starbucks double shot energy and coffee.
Okay, how are they? I've never had one of those.
They're a little creamy, but they're good. They're the perfect boost when you don't want to have like a coffee flavored thing, but it's also an energy drink, because I'm going to a concert. Yeehaw, hence why I'm dressed like this. It's perfect for who this guest was on this episode. But I'm going to see Kelsey Ballerini when we're recording this, so that's why I have my little like yeehaw, giddy up, get up. I didn't wear boots though. It's very out of character. I normally wear cowboy boots, but that's why I need the energy tonight.
Amazing. And what are we reading or watching this week?
So this week, I'm watching Daisy Jones and the Six.
Amazing.
I guess this could also be like a 70s inspired Daisy Jones and the Six inspired outfit. I watched all 3 episodes the week that it came out, so Friday. Nolan watched it with me and also really enjoyed it. Like we ended up watching all 3 together.
Okay, I didn't know too much about this. This is based on a book, right?
Yeah, so I read the book back in 2019. And in the book, it's kind of written like documentary style. So that's why like the TV show is kind of like that. It was one of those books that you read and you're like, this is meant to be a TV show.
Yeah, and does it have, I saw this years ago, but Almost Famous? Did people compare
It's
it to
like
that
Almost Famous vibes. It's like inspired by Fleetwood Mac.
Okay,
it's got a really good energy. The soundtrack is so good. I've heard rumors that they might legitimately tour the album.
No way.
Which is like all my favorite worlds coming together, like good television with with music. It'd be so cool.
Okay, well, we'll get those. Let's manifest getting the whole cast on the show.
What? Yes. Oh my God. Riley Keough, if I got to interview her, would die.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you watching? Reading?
You know what? I'm doing something like wildly outside of what we typically talk about, but I've been hooked on like long form YouTube videos that are like backwoods camping and cabin building. It's a little bit of an inspirational thing because I'm like working on building my cottage. I'm not physically doing it, but it's giving me those summer vibes, like out in the woods.
Are you a camper?
I'm yes and no. I'm not like a backwoods, like portaging multiple day camping trip because I just can't be away from my phone that much.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy building a fire, maybe making a coffee over the fire by boiling the water.
You like the romantic parts about camping.
Exactly. Oh my God. Exactly. I am a big romantic when it comes to the camping lifestyle.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what I've been watching.
Okay, well, what are we listening to right now?
Okay, I'm also in my like vinyl collection era, I think.
Ooh, that's very Daisy Jones and the Six of you.
Okay, we've got a good theme going then. I'm like collecting, going out every weekend, maybe get brunch somewhere and then heading to a record store in a different neighborhood, picking up a couple of things here and there. My latest pickup was an older album. I mean, not super old, but Hot Fuss by The Killers. It's like their first album.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Brightside's on it. It's bangers start to finish. You know what? Go home, throw on the record, and the collection slowly grows.
How big is your record collection?
Maybe 100.
Oh my God, that many. I have a record collection, but I'm very like, it's like Taylor Swift. I have like popular albums as records.
Well, you gotta have a mix of both. So like some of it's like really old, obscure blues records, and then some's new releases.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah. What about you? What do you got?
So today I actually listened to. I didn't know Josh Peck had a podcast. Like Josh Peck from Drake and Josh.
Yeah.
And he had Hilary Duff on, and they talked for like an hour and a bit. It was so good. It made me be like, oh my God, I want to talk to Hilary Duff for like an hour. Like she was so cool. And like my friend and I were texting about it. We were talking about it. She's just so like, if she didn't want to elaborate on something, she'd go, yeah, like I just don't feel like elaborating on that. Like she just was so respectful though.
She's
like
so cool.
Such a pro. She talked about how she like was never the child star that did drugs. She also just like, I don't know, it was very chatty and like normal. It felt like you were just listening to your friend talk, and it just made me love her even more. I've loved her since I was a child, but like.
Okay, I was gonna say in my long list of like celebrity crushes,
she's
we
on
have
there.
to add Hilary Duff.
Oh. That's Nolan's too. She's like, and I get it. She looks the same as she did at like 20 years old. It's insane. But she's just so cool. And she was talking about whether she'd do music again and release music again, which like I'm praying. I've never seen her in concert. That was a lot of people in my era's first concert, and I never got to see her. So.
Let the rain fall down.
I know.
Let's go.
And she was like, I would play the hits. She goes, I'd come out and play a hit. I'm like, oh my God, like, yeah, come clean.
Okay, let's manifest this too.
We're also going to manifest Hilary on this podcast. This episode is sponsored by Sleep Country Canada. Sleep Country Canada is proud to celebrate Sleep Awareness Month to help awaken Canadians to the power of sleep. Join Sleep Country in the 248-hour sleep challenge to get 8 hours of better, higher quality sleep every night for the remainder of the month through small daily actions that help build better sleep routines. Whether it's going to bed at the same time every day to develop consistency, staying off devices 1 hour before going to bed, or setting your thermostat to a comfortable temperature, small daily actions can help you have better tomorrows through better tonights. Make sure to visit sleepcountry.ca to find out more on the 248-hour sleep challenge. So this episode is a little bit different because our guest is not physically here, Jacob.
Right.
So this was a few weeks ago. I was asked to host a Q&A at a private fan event with one of my favorite country music singers, Jordan Davis. Jacob got to attend it.
And you did a really good job. I think it's a good interview.
That's a prep. We're like leading them into this now. But anyways, we were lucky enough to get to take the recording of the interview. You're going to hear how nervous I sound in it. But just note that this was a live recording. So you're listening to Jordan and I's microphones on a stage in front of a couple hundred people. But it was a really good conversation. We talked about everything from his new album, Bluebird Days, to the CMA Song of the Year, to his brief time in Saskatchewan when he performed on the Grey Cup. So I think it was a really great chat, and it's a little bit different. So I'm really glad we could bring this to you guys. And here is my little interview with Jordan Davis.
What up? Sorry, that was very anticlimactic.
That's a lot of people here.
This is awesome.
First
Thank
of all,
you.
cheers. Cheers, everybody. Welcome. All right, so I need to know, because you've been performing all across Canada, and I know every artist will go, this is the best crowd I've had, blah, blah, blah. But I was at the Toronto show, but I want honesty.
All right.
Where did Toronto rank?
You want me to rank them starting at 3?
Yeah.
Going down?
Go ahead.
Vancouver was number 3.
Okay, yeah, that's not surprising.
London was number 2.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Toronto is by far number 1.
Yes, it was.
By far. Even the band, we were talking about how when we walked on stage, we could hear the room through our in-ears, which is very hard to do.
Oh, wow.
So it's y'all are pretty loud.
Well, I did notice that you did say the same lyrics twice for one of the songs.
Take it from me.
Yeah, take it from me.
I got caught up. I get fired up.
Energy.
Well, and too, like, take it from me last night when Dylan goes out, my guitar player, he does this solo thing, and he crushed it. And everybody gets all fired up, and then I just kind of black out.
Well,
It's like Step Brothers. I don't know what to do with my hands, but that's what's going on in my head. I'm like, I don't even know what to say next.
Does that ever get like normal for you though? Like having like crowds of people sing back the songs that you wrote?
No, it's like every time it happens, it's the coolest thing ever. Like, and I'm being dead serious. Like, I moved to Nashville to write songs, so like writing a song that connects with somebody enough to where they sing it with you is the coolest feeling in the world. So, like, I'll be honest with you, last night doing By Dirt, when I stopped singing, I can't stop singing that early a lot. Like, I usually like let them take By Dirt, but it was so loud, like 2 lines into that last chorus, that I was like, nah, y'all got it. And like, I hope y'all know that there's no faking that emotion up there of like looking around at a arena that I watch on ESPN, you know, when the Raptors play.
Yeah.
And
playing the Pelicans tonight.
I know. It's going to be bad for my New Orleans team.
I asked him if he's going to go to the game. He goes, I don't want to watch the Pelicans get stomped by the Raptors after this.
No, don't say that in public. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, the Raptors
I'm kidding.
aren't good either this
No, we're in Toronto. It's all good.
Yeah, we're good. We can play to the home crowd.
Yeah. But, like, seriously, like, you know, it's, like, really cool to, you know, see an arena do that whenever it's just really fun.
So speaking of Buy Dirt, you had said that it was the song that you wrote that gave you the confidence to write the type of music you want to write for Bluebird Days. Yeah. How did it do that for you?
I just kind of think it opened up a whole new vein. I think a lot of it goes back to, you know, being off the road for 2 years when we couldn't tour. I kind of just like got back into listening to music that I like fell in love with, and like what made me want to move to Nashville. Because I think when you get on the hamster wheel of like touring and coming back and writing during the week, and then you leave on Wednesday night, you tour through Sunday, and then you come back, you do the same thing. You can kind of get caught up in writing music that works for a live show, which there's nothing wrong with that, but you can get away from writing songs that, you know, truly impacts. And I think Buy Dirt showed me that writing a song that hit somebody in the heart, as opposed to the classic, oh, this makes me want to roll my windows down and listen to it in the summer, it goes a lot longer. Like, it means a lot more. And so without Buy Dirt, I don't know if I write the songs that are on this record.
Well, it clearly means a lot to everyone else because it won CMA Song of the Year.
It did.
Yes, round of applause for that.
Thank you.
But what I want to know is, like, Jordan, who's moving to Nashville, and he's like, I just want to be a songwriter. You didn't even want to do, as you quote, the artist thing.
Yeah.
So did you ever, like, was that even a dream that you could have thought of, or was that just so, like, not even on your radar?
No. I'm playing with house money. Like, seriously. I you know, moved in 2012. My uncle was a songwriter. My brother was already in town writing songs. My dad wrote songs when we were growing up. So it's like, that's all I ever knew how to do. And I never played shows. And then my brother was the artist. Like, he was the guy that was like playing in Louisiana. So like playing all over, like he'd go up to Monroe. I know y'all don't know where that is at. He would go all over the state of Louisiana and he would play shows. And he had like kind of a statewide following. And he moved to Nashville, and we were all kind of like, oh, dude, Jacob's going to take off, and I'm going to move to Nashville. I'm going to write songs with my brother. And I just think it's crazy how that flipped to where now my brother's staying at home writing songs, and I'm here with y'all tonight. But, like, I truly never dreamed. I signed a record deal, and I'd played 2 shows. That's a true statement. I literally had to go learn how to play a show before they figured out and said, wait a second, we're making a massive mistake. So I truly had to like learn how to perform before I signed a record deal.
Who have you learned from? Like, who's been some inspirations on stage for you?
I've always kind of tried to do like what feels comfortable to me, but like like I love, like, Eric Church is like a guy that like I truly like fell in love with seeing perform. I watched the dude play for 700 people at the Varsity in Baton Rouge. That, to be honest with you, I got drugged to the concert. I did not know who Eric Church was at the time, and his single was "Love Your Love the Most." And a buddy of mine came to the house and he's like, "Man, we're going to see this guy tonight. His name's Eric Church." And I was going to the exact same venue the next night to hear a band named the Randy Rogers Band. And I was like, "Dude, I'm already going to see Randy Rogers tomorrow night. I can't go." And he's like, "Dude, I'll pay for your ticket. It's $20. Eric Church tickets are not $20 anymore.
No.
And I went, and it like truly changed my life. You know, I mean, he's one of the best performers to ever do it. So I look up to him, but also like Kenny Chesney. I mean, even Thomas Rhett. Like Thomas Rhett's been doing this for 10 years, y'all. He's younger than I am. Thomas Rhett has been doing this at a very high level for a long time, and I think that kind of gets lost on people sometimes because he started doing it at 22, I think. So I mean, like, you know, a guy like that has been doing it at that level for that long, like, you can't help but look up to him.
And he kind of seemed like an Energizer bunny on stage. Like, he's just sprinting the entire time. Like,
I know, he's
walking miles.
I know. His cardio is a lot better than mine. I only played 45 minutes and I was whooped last night.
So your new album, Bluebird Days, have we all listened? Yes.
Yeah,
Love it.
thank you.
So it already had hits like Buy Dirt, Next Thing You Know, What My World Spins Around. But you've said that this album expresses exactly where you are right now.
Yeah.
And where is that?
I'm a loser dad. No, I think a lot of it is like, I wrote my first album and even some of the EPs. Like, I wrote that before I was married, before I'd even met my wife. I was in such a different place to where now it's like, you know, my life is my family. Like, I do this because this is my job, because my job supports my family. Mm-hmm. I'm very lucky that this is a dream job, but at the end of the day, you know, that's why I do this. And I think too, music's such like a spiritual thing for me. I connect with, you know, whether it be however I'm listening to music, I can hear a song and it just absolutely just rocks my world. And I want to be a guy singing those songs that hits people, that impacts them. And the only way to do that is to be honest. So this is the most honest I've ever been on a record. And we'll play some of these songs tonight that are like, you know, songs that I'm proud of about where I'm at. There's songs that I'm like scared, like, you know, about like the future, and you know, songs about, you know, my past, like the way I viewed money. With Money Isn't Real, like it was such an unhealthy view of it, to where like now I feel like I can. I don't know. I still struggle with money, but like, you know, at least I'm talking about it, because I know I'm not the only one that's doing it.
Well, and Money Isn't Real is a song that you actually didn't write yourself, and this is the first album that you have songs featured that you did not write yourself. So what does that mean to you, though, to give songwriters an opportunity to make a living writing music now that you have this stage and platform?
Yeah. It's something that I never thought I would do, like being the songwriter moving to town. But the bottom line is like, you get so busy with touring, and then you add in, you know, 2 kids. We got another one coming in June. Thank you. But you know, your time gets thin. Like, it's, you know, it's either you write a bunch of songs, or do I take my daughter to the park? And I didn't have the songs to fill this record out. Mm-hmm. And I'd been trying to write Money Isn't Real. This is a true story, y'all. I've been trying to write that song for 4 years. I was writing a song called When the Money Runs Out that is truly what Money Isn't Real, like the song I recorded. It was that song, and it was about, you know, dying alone. Wow, this got deep. But it was like, you know, like worshiping that, mm-hmm. and not truly living and thinking that money was going to fix all your problems, because it doesn't. And it was terrible. It was one of the worst songs I've ever written. I sounded like an arrogant jerk. Like, it was just awful. And Jameson Rogers, my buddy, sent me that song and was like, dude, you brought that up, and I wrote this song. I'm going to send it to you. And that was the first time I'd heard it. And I told him, I was like, dude, you wrote the song I've been trying to write for 4 years. And if that's not Nashville, if that's not songwriters in Nashville, I don't know what is. There's so many great songs in that town. So being able to cut a song from a buddy that I've been trying to write, that he just did better, mm-hmm. It actually is. It's one of the most rewarding songs I've ever recorded.
Well, it's also like full circle for you, I'm sure, because you're now the artist doing the artist thing, yeah. who now gets to give people that platform, which is awesome.
Yeah, and without that, like, if we don't cut outside songs, like, you know, that's like Nashville struggles.
Yeah.
And there's just so many good writers, so many great songs. So I hope to cut a lot more outside songs going forward.
So you had said in previous interviews, this might have been years ago, that you used to do a lot of your songwriting in the morning. You would do like a 9 a.m., 10 a.m. songwriting session, then go work at the bar in the afternoon. But I want to know how that's changed since you have 2 little ones. Do you still get to write songs in the morning, or do they take up your mornings now?
Yeah, we do breakfast. We do breakfast starts at like 7:30.
Yep.
And then at 8:30 I start work. So like that's when I'll either, start picking around on the guitar or like read or just do something to kind of try to kick up an idea. I still write at about 11. It's actually short in the afternoon. So like I used to be able to write until the song got done, or until we were just like, hey guys, this song's garbage, let's just throw it away.
Trash.
But sometimes that would be 5. Sometimes that would be 6:30. To where like now I've got a pretty hard out at 4 o'clock. So 4 o'clock I gotta be back before kids wake up from their nap.
Yep.
So
I was saying to Jordan backstage that he brought the cold weather from Saskatchewan here to Toronto because we haven't had bad weather like this. And then they show up in town and we have a snowstorm and I'm like sliding my cowboy boots trying to get to this concert yesterday. But you had experience with that cold weather because you played the Grey Cup.
I did.
Last year. CFL, shout out. What was that experience like? And I need to know, did you know anything about the CFL before you got that chance?
I did. I watched like a lot of them. There's a ton of players from the SEC. I'm an LSU fan, so like a lot of players from the SEC that come and play in the CFL. A bunch of guys some guys in my camp. They had buddies. Actually, is it Chad Kelly, the quarterback for the Argonauts? Yeah, so
I'm like looking at my friends in the back that work in sports. I'm like, yes.
He kind of grew up with a buddy of Chad, so like we were kind of following along there. I bet on the Argonauts, which was awesome because they were the underdog. So I won some money.
Are you allowed to say that? That's over now. Who cares?
Yeah. I can say that, right?
You can say that.
I bet through Vegas. It's all good.
That's true. Yeah. I'm like, does the halftime, like we're going to go through stats, like does the halftime show ever dictate the winner of a game?
Oh, yeah.
I'll go back.
No, it would have been trouble if I would have bet the over-under on how long the halftime show would have gone.
Yeah, there we go. That's true.
That could have got a little dicey.
Or like, what color is Jordan Davis going to come out wearing?
Yeah.
The color of his top is primarily going to be...
So... Sorry.
Sorry, we're detailing
this. No. That made me think of something because... yes, I did. I am a CFL fan. I've watched many a Grey Cup. So being able to play it was truly special. And just being like a huge football fan. But I had a buddy of mine for the Super Bowl that texted me because Chris Stapleton is signed to Universal. And he thought I had like some in on like rehearsals or something. And he was like, hey, dude, is Chris Stapleton going to go over the national anthem? And I was like, dude, I love to sports bet too much to give you any insider information.
I feel like
as if I had any, but like
with country singers, I feel like it's safe to take the over, though.
Especially with Stapleton, like he can kind of like let loose and go on like a 15-second vocal run that you're like, wow, that was amazing.
What would you be? Would you be over or under? Do you think if you did the national anthem?
It wouldn't exist because I'm not doing it.
Okay. We're talking hypothetically, so we can play this back. Okay, when you play,
if I do it. That's a no-go for me though. I will never do. It's a lose-lose. Do you think I'm going to do the anthem better than Chris Stapleton? So why would I ever do that?
But like 5 years from now, do people remember Chris Stapleton's anthem performance?
Yes.
Okay, maybe.
That's what I was like. It's like the only thing you can do is screw it up.
Is this not like the natural progression? You do CFL, Grey Cup halftime show, then you're gonna move on up.
I'm gonna hang my hat on the Grey Cup.
I will come back.
Riding off into the sunset.
Don't end on a high. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, so back to Bluebird Days. I'm so sorry.
I know. No, that was my fault. That was on me.
Okay, so I just want to know before we get to listen to some of the songs, which I'm very excited about, what do you hope people take away from this record?
I think the thing that I want them to take away from most is just the honesty of it. I've never been this honest in a record, and that was one of our goals set out. Like we wanted to show growth from home state, and I wanted to be very open and vulnerable with this. And even the song "Bluebird Days" itself is a song I never thought I'd record, but it's really cool. Even just the first week, seeing it impact people. But I really hope it's growth and honesty. That's one thing I hope people take away from this record.
As someone that's been listening to it on repeat all week, I can confirm that's what you take from it. Are you guys excited to
Thank you very much.
Let's listen though. You don't need to hear me talk anymore.
Yeah.
I like blacked out during most of that interview, so listening to it back was a very interesting experience for me because I was like so nervous / excited. But yeah, I think it went pretty well.
It went great. It was fantastic, and he played songs afterward too, which we obviously couldn't include. But like, he's a great guy, great interview, and hopefully no one heard me yell, "You're doing great" in the back.
Jacob was full like Regina George's mom and Mean Girls with like the camera. Like when I would look up from my questions, you were the first face I saw. But it was good. It felt good to have like the support of friends and managers in the crowd. But now we're going to continue with our voicemail segment. As a reminder, if you have a question for us, you can submit it to talkingfastshow@gmail.com. You can also message us on Instagram. I do a call out every single Monday at Talking Fast Show. This one was asked a couple weeks ago, but it felt very fitting because of the interview we just had. What is the best concert you've ever been to?
Okay, this one immediately came to mind. It was right before the pandemic, and there was a snowstorm. And I had tickets to go to this show, and the person I was meant to go with couldn't go anymore. And then I had invited like multiple other people in succession, and no one could go. No one wanted to go out because it was this big blizzard. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, well, I've never been to a show alone before, but I'm just going to go. I'm just going to go to the show. Yeah. It was Leif Volbeck, who's like a kind of a folky musician. He's playing a show at the Mod Club in Toronto. And it was an amazing experience. First of all, he's just like an incredible musician, and I love all of his music. So it was cool to like be in the presence of one of your favorite artists, right? And like hear those songs for the first time. But then also there was like no pressure to like stand in a certain spot or like go and get a drink at a certain time. So I just grabbed a beer and just like kind of hung out around the back-ish, swayed along, sang along a little bit. It was a good show. So I think that stands out as my favorite. I went to my first solo concert last year to see Halsey, and it was great. Like it was, you just like chat with people around you, and also you don't talk when the concert's on. So who cares if you go by yourself? Exactly. I feel like more solo shows will be in my future for sure. My best concert I've ever been to is the Reputation tour in Toronto. Taylor Swift. I won tickets, and I didn't know where my seats were, so I showed up to the box office just like to pick them up. So my expectations are like on the floor. I'm like, they're like, I don't care. I just want to be in the building. I don't care where. Yeah. And then I show up, and we are like the first row of the second part of the floor. So we have no one in front of us, so much room. And then she has like satellite stages, and then I was front row for the satellite stage. That's and wild. I was like floating on cloud nine. I did get a little bit too drunk at that concert though. Like I don't. Well, when in Rome, you know, if you got I was too excited. Like you can help it. And they had Taylor's signature cocktails. I had to. Oh. But she always puts on a really elaborate show, which is why it's great. Okay, second voicemail question here. Do you ever worry that if you get too much popularity online and become this massive influencer, that you'll become too unrelatable? I mean, maybe if I become like Alex Earl with like 10 million followers, but I don't foresee that in my future. I picked this question because I got it actually in an Ask Me Anything when I was on the train back home. And I found it really interesting. I actually had a discussion with this. I got interviewed today for a girl in a master's program who asked me something very similar. For me though, like my end goal is never to be a full-time influencer. So I don't know. I just post what for me is authentic to my life in that moment. My life does not look the same as 3 years ago. And whether that's because I am a content creator now or not, I don't know. It just doesn't look the same. You do different things, you have different friends, whatever. So I just think sharing whatever is going on in the moment and just being your most authentic self is how you do it. I mean, I would argue that Emma Chamberlain's still a very authentic, like relatable person, even though she's a multi-millionaire. Yeah. And then people just don't really think about that. So I just think it's more about the person and less about the follower amount. I think so too, because I think that you can have a low number of followers and get a couple videos go viral or that kind of thing and be the most unrelatable person ever. 100%. But yeah, I think that they're two different things that we're talking about. I worry about this all the time for me personally, though. I mean, if you guys don't know, Jacob's vlogging now, so you can go check out his TikTok. I'm a huge TikToker. Make sure you go get some likes going. Pat, I feel like really early on in the podcast, we
we talked about how like one of the reasons you were going to be the co-host is because you weren't a cloud chaser, and now you're vlogging on TikTok, which is hilarious. They're good vlogs though.
Oh my God, thank you.
Also, he's running the New York City Marathon and prepping for that. So following that journey is kind of fun for
I
you.
know. So I've got 3 marathons lined up this year. So we got to just.
You're going from, no offense, barely finishing 1 last year to doing 3 this year.
You gotta keep your strides moving forward.
This goes back to the episode where you said that you have never like thought you couldn't do something. You're like, if I could 100%. Make the NFL, I could.
Let's do 100.
Okay, let's finish off mailbag. It's not called mailbag anymore. It's been 2 months.
Jail.
Let's finish off voicemail with one trip you're looking forward to and why.
Well, okay, that's a good one to say. Is the New York City Marathon. Mm-hmm. There are already a ton of people that are saying like, oh, I want to come and watch you, because there's a massive vibe that just happens at the New York City Marathon.
My friend lives in New York, and she says marathon day is her favorite day because people just like run around different bars. The bars are all like out on the street. You can just like sit on a patio and watch everyone.
It's a really good route. It goes through all 5 boroughs. It's the entire city. It's amazing. So I think I'm looking forward to that one.
I'm actually going to be there already prior to knowing Jacob was running it, because I'm going to be there for a friend of mine. So I said I'll make a sign for her on one side and you on the other, and I'll just keep flipping it back and forth.
Okay, well, I look forward to the sign. And what are you looking forward to in a trip?
Well, I think when this is out, and by think I mean no, because I scheduled this podcast, I will be in Paris when this podcast drops. Yeah, so I'm doing a little trip with Nolan to Europe. We're going to London, Paris. We were going to go to Brussels, and then everyone on TikTok bullied me into going to Bruges instead, because apparently it's cuter and more vibey. So I'm going to go to Bruges in Belgium, and then we're going to Amsterdam.
Just a little trip hitting 4 different countries.
I know. 2 of them I've been to before. So my thing was, I was like, okay, I want to hit places. Like, we're going to Brussels, not Brussels. We're going to Bruges. We're going to Bruges for 1 night though. It's just because it's like, it's on the way, and I want like to check the country off. So
yeah, absolutely. That's huge. That's
amazing. It should be fun. Anyways, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Talking Fast. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the little chat with Jordan Davis. Make sure that you like, subscribe, all the positive things and comments. I'm sorry it was just the 2 of us, so I didn't get you a gift like how I normally get our other guests. Maybe next time.